Welcome back, guys. Hope you're doing great. Well, this is the day 6 of our project series. So far from day 1 to day 5, we successfully completed the authentication and working with Supabase and saving the artist and song details and displaying them in their respective pages. And so far, we completed all these steps. So if you haven't watched any of these project series before, so please click the link in the description below, and I'll strongly recommend you to go ahead and start watching it from the first day 1, right? So in this day 6, we are going to finish this search functionality. So if you have a look at here, so we are going to finish the search functionality, and along with that, we are going to integrate this favorite options too, right? So we are going to integrate the favorites, so you can add or remove the favorites from any songs from your favorites list. And that's what we are going to do in this day 6 series, right? And after that, we are going to work on this player component, and finally we need to work on our Stripe membership. And once we finish all those things, and only one thing is remaining, that we need to deploy our project. So we are going to finish this project series, and I hope you guys are so excited, right? Without wasting your further time, so let's jump into the today's video. All right then, so first what we have to do is we have to fetch the songs by the title. So let me close all these things. Let me close everything. So let's get back to your actions folder. So over here, this is the one which we need to copy. So copy and duplicate this. Okay, and I'm going to rename this file folder as, so this is going to be, let's rename this file. So let's say get songs by title. This is the one, get songs by the title, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rename this get songs. I'm going to rename this get songs by title. Apart from that, nothing else is going to be changed. It's going to be the same promise array, because based on if you're searching something, so it's need to return. So over here, if you have a look, so for instance, let's say if I'm searching something, for instance, let's say, so I type and it's waiting for a few milliseconds, and if you see here, it's returning the list of songs, whatever it's matching that specific text, right? You can see it's returning an array. So that's what, so every time whenever I'm typing something, it's need to wait for a few milliseconds, then it need to hit the server. So if you're constantly typing and if it's constantly fetching the data from the server, so it's going to cost us a lot. Once you push your site to the production, the API cost will be huge, right? So what I'm going to do is, so this is the place, it's going to be the same, and what I need to do is I need to get the title first. So this is the parameter, and it's going to be the string, so I need to get the title, TITLE. So what I need to do is, if there is no title, if not title, then what I'm going to say, const all songs is equals to await get the songs. We have to get all the songs from the get songs, right? Then we have to return all songs, which means if there is no title, then we need to return all the songs. So if there is a title, is that the case, then it's going to come over here, right? So here from the songs, we need to fetch the songs, and we need to select all the documents. Along with that, I'm going to add one more. It's going to be the I like. Okay, it's like a like, and I'm going to search in this specific field, title, TITLE, and it should match this specific string pattern, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the percentage sign. Okay, and inside here I'm going to give the title. Okay, sure. So this is going to fetch all the details which matches the string whatever we are typing over here, right? Either the complete title or the matching character parameters, right? So this is going to be, that's it. So save the changes. Now we have the get songs by title. Then what we have to do is we have to create a new page. So I'm going here, and inside the app I'm going to create a new folder called search, and inside the search, now what we have to do is we have to create a new file called page.txx. Let me create a new file called page.tsx, and this page.tsx is going to be let's say sfc, and I'm going to say search. And inside here, I'm just going to create a div, which is going to display the text as search. Save it. All right. So now over here, if I hit the search, and now you can see we are getting the search page, which is rendered successfully over here, right? And we should not catch this page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say export const revalidate is equals to 0. So revalidate variable is going to be 0. So we are not going to cache this entire page, right? So here for this page is going to take a specific props. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, so interface search props, which is going to be, and search params. So we are going to use the search params. So search params is the instance, it's an object, and it's going to have the property called title, title, and it's going to be the string type, string. Okay, that's the property, and I need to supply this over here. So async, and for this I need to get the search params from where? From the search props. So over here, so I'm just going to say search params, which is going to from search props. So search params is the object that we are going to get it from where? From the search props. All right. So say this changes. And then now what we have to do is to inside here, I need to fetch all these songs which matches the title. So over here, I'm just going to say const songs is equals to await get songs by title. And then I need to supply the title parameter inside in it. So search params dot title, which is inside in it. That's a string, and it will pass the empty string initially. So it's going to return all the songs over here, right? So save these changes. Now there is no issues at all. So far, no issues at all over here, which means if it is any error is happening over here, which means that we while fetching the songs by title, we are getting an issue. So far, there is no issues, right? Then what I have to do, I need to get the artist data also. So artist equals to await get artist. Save these changes, right? So now we have the artist details and everything. So over here, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create an empty div, and inside this div, I'm just going to make sure class name, which is going to be hatchful and widthful and overflow hidden and overflow white auto. Save these changes. And inside here, now I need to bring the header section first, header. So for that, I'm going to import the header component from our custom header component, which we created. So let me break it over here. And for this, we need to supply the child nodes. So over here, I'm just going to say h2, and here search here by song title. That's it. So now we should get the search here by song title. This is what we are getting over here. Cool. Now for this h2 tag, I'm just going to add few more styles. h2 is equals to my4 margin top and bottom, and text excel, the size of it excel, and font bold, and text neutral 400. Save the changes. All right. So now you should get this. All right. So now after here, if you have a look over here, we need to bring this input field, right? So in order to get that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component over here. So this is the search input field section. So here I'm just going to create a new field called search input component. And of course, if you save this, you will run into an error because we know that search input is not yet created. So in order to do that, what I have to do is I have to copy this, and I'm going to create a new component over here under the components folder. I'm going to say search component.tsx, and okay, so now inside the search input, so what I need to do is I need to make sure this is the client, use client. Let's make sure this as the use client, right? So use client, and right after here sfc, and I'm going to bring this as the search input. And inside here for I'm just going to create a div which is going to display the search input. Save these changes, and let me import it over here so we don't need to run into any unwanted issues. So now it's refreshing and you should able to see search in, okay, I think my bad, input spelling wrong, search input, right? So now we are getting that component which is loaded successfully. So now in order to get this query string, so once I loaded the search page, if you wonder here, you can see if I click this, if I'm typing something, I should get that query string over here. So to generate that query string, what I need to do is I need to import that, install a new package. So let's import a new package called query string. So 1 second. Where it is? Yep. So here npm install query hyphen string query string, enter. So this should install that package. Okay, so query string. So now what I have to do is I have to fetch that information. So over here, right after here, I'm just going to say const router is equals to use router. From where? From next navigation, right? Then I need to get the value. So I'm going to create a new state over here, use state, and I'm going to say value, which is going to be the set value, and it's going to be initially string, and it's going to be the type of string. Okay, save these changes. And then now what I have to do is I have to make sure this, see, if I'm typing over here, for instance, if I'm searching something like nature or something, so it's waiting for a few milliseconds, right? So until the user finish typing the keyboard, after finish typing, it needs to wait for a few milliseconds before fetching the songs based on the title from our database. So that's what we need to do. In order to do that, I'm going to create a custom hook. So over here, I'm going to create a new hook in the new hooks folder called use debounce. So we need to set a debounce value for 500 milliseconds. So it's need to wait 500 milliseconds before doing something. So use debounce. Okay. So now inside here, what I need to do is I'm going to create a new function. So const use debounce. Use debounce. Okay. Make sure they are spelling same. Use debounce. And let's make sure here const use debounce, it's equals to, okay. And now this is going to be the type of t, and this is going to return the values, something like value colon with the type of t, and we need to get the delay, which is going to be an optional parameter, and that is going to be a number. Okay, delay, and of course it's going to return the t as a type, and it's going to be a callback function. Okay, so now you should not get any issues over here. So don't worry about this warning over here. So we will fix it eventually. So const, I'm going to create a new value over here. So use state is equals to, first we need to set debounce. Okay, and initially it's going to be the value. It's going to have the value parameter which we are passing in it, and it's going to be the type of t. Okay. So argument type text is not assignable to, oops, this is not a text, this is t. That's what I'm wondering. Okay, so then I'm going to create a use effect. So use effect hook, open it, and it's going to take an empty array dependency, and inside here I'm going to pass the value and the delay effect. Okay, delay timing, and inside this function what I'm going to do is, so const timer is equals to set timeout, open it, and it's going to call a callback function, and here I'm just going to say set debounce value with that value, and then it should delay for a second limit. If you are passing the delay, it will takes the delay value. If you're not passing the delay, it will takes the 500 milliseconds as the default delay timing. So if all says so, then what I need to do, I need to return a callback function by clearing that timeout, clear timeout with that timer. So whatever the timer I set, I need to clear the timer, right? And at the end, after this, I need to return the debounce value. return the debounce. So once you added the return statement, you can see the error whatever we are getting over here, it's been returned. It's been cleared out. And finally, I need to export this. So export default as use debounce value. So what basically this custom hook is going to be, it's going to get the custom type with the value and the delay as a number, and that is going to return the custom type as t. So basically t is the custom type which we are creating, and it's going to have these two properties in it. And then we are having a custom hook with we having a custom state with that specific type, which means the type is going to have the value and the number in it, right? And inside here we are going to set the debounce value. Whatever the value we are passing in it, it will be added over here, but it will wait for 500 milliseconds after that to return that value. So that's what we are doing over here. So here now I have to get back, and here inside the search input, now what I need to do is right after here const debounce value is equals to use debounce, open it, and I need to make sure that is the type, whatever the type which I'm sending over here, that type will be assigned over here, right? So I'm sending it as a string, and I'm sending the value in it, and I'm sending the 500 milliseconds. So by default itself, we set it over here 500. If you wish to keep any other values also, that's fine. Or even if you're not giving this value, that will work perfectly fine, because we added the default delay value over there, right? In this case, I'm just going to leave it as empty over here, okay? Or I can keep it as 450 milliseconds, right? Something like that, right? After here, I'm going to keep the use effect, open it, enter, and it's going to have the array of dependency, and inside here I'm going to supply the debounce value, and along with that it need to check the router. Every time whenever the router is changing, it's need to re-render it. All right, so first I need to get the query. So in order to work with the query, so we added the query string package. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to import that query string. So make sure that is imported separately. Import qs from where? Query string, this one hyphen string, right? So from there, now what I need to do, make sure that you are using query hyphen string, not query string which is showing or suggestions over there. Okay, so here I'm just going to say const query is equals to, open it, and the title, I'm going to fix the title with the debounce value, whatever the value we got the debounce, so that's the value it's going to be. So initially the state value is passing over here, so that value will be set to the debounce, and that be passed up over here, wait for a few seconds, and returned back to the debounce, and that will be assigned to our query, right? So every time whenever you are assigning the state, it will be passed to the debounce, and it will be waited for 450 milliseconds, then it will be returned back over here, right? So that will be assigned back to our title. So once you got the query, now what I need to do, I need to set const URL is equals to qs.stringify URL, open it, and create an object. Inside I'm gonna use the URL, and that is going to be the search URL, that's our main route URL. Then right after here, enter, I need to supply the query, which is going to our custom query, which our query parameter, right? Then what I need to do, I need to push this router. So router dot push that specific URL. Okay, so save these changes, right? So in order to return, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to return our input component which we created by ourselves, and this input component it should have a class name. So of course the bg, it's going to be the black color for that input field, and we need to add some shadow, and py it's going to be 3, and text size it's going to be base, and placeholder here I'm just going to say what do you want to listen. Okay, so this is what I'm going to add it as a placeholder, and I'm going to supply the value, which is going to be our value, and on change, from that on change event we are going to get that event in the callback function, and set value as e.target.value. So every time whenever the states gets updated, and that will be passed to this custom hook, it will wait for a few seconds, and it will be returned to this query, and the query will push that to this URL, right? Let's save these changes, and let's run up our application, npm run dev, and refresh it over here. Okay, so it's loading. It's taking more than a while. Okay, so here we go. So now this input field is rendered up over here, right? So now if I'm typing something, let's say test, it's waiting few seconds, and you can see that it's pushed up over there. So if I am deleting this completely, it's waiting few seconds, then it's remove it from there, right? So that's what we are trying to do over here. That's the reason that we have the debounce value. So now what I need to do is, so let's get back to the page.tsx, right? So I need to pass the content. So now it will fetch this value from this get songs details every time whenever the search parameters get updated, this title, this will fetch the details from the songs. So now we have the real songs in our hand. So now what I need to do is I need to supply that and I need to display it. So div is equals to class name, width, of course, it's going to be full, and flux, it's going to be 1. And inside here I need to display the search content. So I'm going to create a new component called search content. It's going to be songs. It's going to have a property called songs, and I'm going to return these songs into it. And also it's going to have the properties called artist, and I'm going to return the artist data into it, right? So now let's go ahead and create this component. So don't save this, otherwise it will shows an error. So here I'm going to create a new components folder, components, and inside this components folder I'm going to create the search component.tsx, right? Now inside the search component, of course, first what we have to do, we have to make sure this is the client folder, use client, and we need to create a prop interface search content props. So we need to define two props. One is going to be songs, and it's going to have the song type as an array, and another one we need to have the artist, and that is going to be the artist type as an array, right? And now what I need to do, let's say sfc, and here I'm going to use the search content, and inside here so far I'm going to return this as a search content. And here what I need to do is, inside the search content, we are going to we need to make sure this component is using this type. So react, this is not necessary, so react.fc, and it's going to be the search content props, and need to extract the songs and as well as the artists, right? So save these changes, and let's get back over here and let's import this, save it. Now you should get the search content which is displaying over here, right? So now we are getting the search content. So far there is no issues, and now we have our artist details, the songs details inside this component. Now what I need to do is I need to make sure the songs length. So if we have the songs, then their length should be greater than 0. If it is equals to 0, then what I need to do, I need to say no songs to return. So in order to do that, I'm going to return, and I'm going to say div, and I'm going to say no songs found, and this is going to be flex, of course, width is going to be full, and it's going to be item center, justify center, and the text color is going to be the neutral 400. Save these changes, right? So now we are getting the search content. If I am typing something else, it's fetching, and you should see this no songs found, right? So now if there is a songs, we are getting the search content, right? In order to remove this, now I'm going to delete this, I'm going to return it, and I'm going to create a div, and this div is going to be a class name, and it's going to be a grid, and it's going to be grid column 1 from small device, from the large device grid column 2. It's better, what we can do is, instead of typing the same stuff again, I'm going to home screen, components, page context, and this exactly the same div. So I'm going to copy this and get back over here, and I'm going to replace this, right? Inside here, now what I have to do, I need to render these songs. So just exactly the same stuff. Let's get back to the same page content. This is the same thing that we have to do. I'm going to copy this song item, or no, we need to design a different component. Okay, so song item doesn't have, so if you check over here, So this song, it's looking, this UI is looking different, but if you check in the home screen, that is looking different, right? So in order to do that, now let's go here, and right after here, I need to render the songs. So songs dot map function, and I'm going to get the item one after another. Then I'm going to display it over here with a paragraph tag. First, I need to make sure whether I'm getting the data or not. So this is going to be item.id, and inside here, I'm just going to say item dot title. Save this changes. Now you should get all the songs titles over here. So now if I'm changing if I'm searching for scat, nothing is there. So if I'm searching for nature, I should get a single song over here. Cool. So which means it's working perfectly how it's supposed to be. Now instead of displaying a paragraph tag, I'm going to create a media item. Okay, this it's not there, so we have to create this media items. So let's go ahead and create a new component first to create that media item. Okay, so let me copy this and let me go to the components folder, the group components folder over here, and I'm going to create a new component called tsx media item.tsx, and let's make this as the use client and sfc media component, and it's going to render the division called media component. Save these changes and let's import this. And for this key, so far let's import this media component first. Media component, for this key I'm going to supply the item.id so we don't run into any unique key issues. So now you should get the media item and everything, right? Now what I need to send, so this media item is going to have a props. It's need to it's need to receive the properties. So media item props, open it. It's need to receive the data, which is going to be the song type, and it's need to receive the artist to display the artist information. So it's need to be the artist type. Then we need to get the class name. It's need to have a custom style. So if you want to make sure to customize it, you need to get the class name, and it's going to be the string. All right, then we need to have the onClick function. So we need to get the onClick function, and of course it's going to pass the id as a string type, and it's going to return the void. It's not going to return any specific. That's the prop, and we need to make sure that it's passed up over here. So react.fc, and which is going to be the media item props, and inside here let's get the data, artist, class name, and on click. These are the properties. Save these changes and let's go up over here. Now let's apply the data. So for the data, I'm going to supply the item, and for artist, so now for the artist, what I have to do is for the artist data, so I'm gonna use the filter. So artist dot filter, open it. I'm going to get the artist inside here in this function. So artist, or let's say person, that's a person, right? So let's get that person. So that person dot id should be equals to item dot artist id. If it says so, then we have to return that artist, and it will return the array, but we don't need the array. I need to return the object alone. So I'm going to fetch the first index and I'm going to return it to the artist object. Then we need to return the onClick function. So far this is going to be an empty onClick function. Save this, right? So now we have successfully passed the data, artist details, and everything inside this media item. And now inside this returns inside the media item. So we have to go ahead and start designing that media item. So let's go ahead and do that next. All right. So now what we have to do is to start customizing this media item. So since we have this media item and all these necessary props, now what I have to do, I have to start customizing this media item over here. All right. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create this div. So class name, and of course it's going to be using this TW merge function, and that is going to have the custom styles along with the class name prop, which we are passing from outside. For this custom styles, I'm going to say flex, and of course it's going to be the width full, right? So then what we have to do is it need to be a flex container. So it's need to be a flex box. So I'm just going to make it already as a flex. Then it should be item center, justify everything in the starting position. Then px it's going to be 4, py it's going to be 2, and rounded it's going to be medium, and bg it's going to be neutral 400 slash 10. So let me enable the word wrap so you can see everything, right? Then we need to have the drop shadow as a medium, and gap in between each of the elements it's going to be 4. Cursor always should be a pointer, and opacity initially it's going to be the 75% opacity, but when I'm hovering it, I'm going to make the opacity as 100%, right? Save these changes. Now you should see some coloring changes over here, right? If I'm hovering it, you can see we have some coloring changes, everything over here. Fine. Now instead of this media item, so I need to display the image first. If you have a look at here, we need to display this image. So to get that song image, so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to create a class name, which is going to be an aspect square. All right. Let's keep this as a width as 24, and height I'm just going to make it as 16, right? 16. Then rounded it's going to be medium, and overflow it's going to be hidden, and it's going to be relative position. And inside here I'm going to bring that image, and I'm going to display that song image. So in order to load that song image, so we already created ourselves a custom hook. So const song image path, let's make this spelling correct, and it's here, use load song image, open it, and I'm going to supply data in it. So that's going to fetch the song public URL for that specific song, and I'm going to use that inside here. So image, which is coming from next image, and for this what we need to do, we need to supply the necessary objects. So which is going to be, first we need to supply the source. src source is going to be the song image path. If not, if there is no songs image, then of course use img slash, what is that? Let's go to the public images and song.jpg, right? That's the song that we are trying to use. And right after here, then what we need to do, I need to supply the alternative text. Alternative text is going to be your data.title. Then we need to make sure it should fill the entire thing, and the class name should be object cover. Okay, save these changes. Yep, and it should have the width full and height full property also, so we don't get any unwanted warnings or issues, anything. So now we are successfully loaded this songs. Okay, so we successfully loaded this. Then what I have to do, I have to bring this this particular name and details. But the problem is, you can see the layout structure currently for this layout we are getting only 2. So I need to expand this. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some minor adjustments in the search content instead of this medium. So what I'm going to do is, initially it should display only 1. Instead of from the medium property, I'm going to delete it. So for the large, it should display only 2, and I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to keep the 2xl. For the 2xl property, it should display 8. So save these changes. Okay, so now you should get 2 columns. Okay, so now we can display the name, and we can display the artist detail, and we can display that favorite buttons over here, right? Fine. So now let's go ahead and display that after this not here, inside this media item, after this image division. So now what I need to do, I need to display that the text content section over here. So this is going to be the title section. So I'm going to create a div, and let's make sure that it's going to be flex and flex column. Okay, and it's going to be item center, and it's going to be start in the initial position. We don't need to keep this as center as well, as let's keep this as a start. Right now here, let's say gap y, it's going to be 1, and inside this division I'm going to have a paragraph, and I'm going to bring the data dot title, and this paragraph, of course, it's going to be class name, and it's going to be the width full, and for from the medium device onwards, width is going to be 40, and I need to truncate some unwanted. If the text is too long, I need to truncate, and it should be font should be semi bold. Save this changes, and that's how it looks, right? You can see that. So it's truncating the some unwanted spaces, right? So right after here, I need to display that favorite options. So if you want to make it a little bit bigger also, you can make it a little bit bigger. So 44. Okay, I think 44 is more than enough because we need to display this option over here, right? All right, so now we have our text over there. So then what I need to do is I need to display the artist details. So in order to display the artist image, of course, just like the same way, I need to use the custom hook to get the artist. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this to artist, and here I'm just going to say use artist. Use load artist. Yes, use load artist image and supply the artist data. Right, so now that should gives you the artist public image URL, and right after here, what I'm going to do is I need to make sure. Okay, so if I do have the artist data, then I need to render this, and here I'm going to create a div class name, and which is going to be flex item center and justify center, and gap is going to be 2, and inside here I'm going to bring one more division. This division is for our displaying the image, so class name, and which is going to be relative position, and it's going to be aspect square, and width is going to be 6, height is going to be 6, and rounded it's going to be 4. Okay, and of course overflow should be hidden. Enter, and inside here I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this. Instead of this, I'm just going to say artist image path, and this is going to be avatar, right? So this is going to be the artist dot author name. So save this changes, and now you should get the artist image over there. Look at that. So now we are getting the artist image over here. So right after this division, then what I need to do, I need to bring a paragraph tag, and that should display the artist dot author name, and it should have a very specific class, and it's going to be text, it's going to be small, and text is going to be neutral 400. Save this changes. Look at that. So now we are getting the artist name. Okay, so even if you wish to keep it very much smaller also, we can keep it very much smaller. I think this is more than enough, right? So then what I have to do is, now all we have to do is to bring the user like button over here, right? So in order to do that, so get to the last division over here. So this is the place where we are going to bring that like button, right? So now what I need to do, this like button needs to be displayed only if you have the user data. So if you're having the user data only, we need to get that like button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the user data. So const user, it's going to be from use user hook, from our custom hook. I'm going to get the user data. Why am I getting an error? Okay, because of that only. So I need to get this user data, then I need to create. So this function is having an on click also. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say const handle click as a function, and that is going to be a function. And inside here, if that is an on click, if on click, then I need to return on click data.id. So I need to return this function, right? So, and that function needs to be called every time whenever I'm clicking over here, and I'm going to call this handle click. Okay, At the end, now what I need to do, this like button, if I have this user data, then I need to render this component, which I don't have. That is going to be our like button. So I don't have this like button yet. So what I need to do, I need to create a new component called like button. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new component called like button. Copy this and let's get back over here, create a new component, paste it, .tsx, and this like button is going to be our use client, our client side component sfc, which is going to be the like button, and div like button. Save this and let's go here. Let's import it, save these changes. Now you should get that like button text over there. See, we are getting that like button text over there, right? So this like button, it's going to look like this icon option over there. So that's what we are going to do next. All right then, so now what we have to do is to let's jump into our like button over here. So let's create a prop for our like button first. So interface, it's going to be like button props. Let's open it, and it's going to receive the song ID because we need to make sure because we have the user ID from the user hook, we can get it from there. And whenever I click this, I need to get the song ID, because using that user ID and using that song ID only, we are going to mark that particular song is added as a favorite for this specific user, right? So that's how we need to add the details into the favorites over here. See, if you go and check your favorites table which we created, that favorites table will looking up for your song ID and as well as the user ID. That's the two different thing that we need to add over there, right? So let's come up over here, and the song ID, it's going to be a string type. That is the prop of this component, react, that functional component, and it's going to be like button props. And let's open it and let's get the song. All right, and then now I need to get the router. So const router is equals to use router, and make sure that is coming from your React navigation, not from use React router. It should come from the next next navigation, not from the next router, right? Then I need to get the Supabase client object. So const, let's get it from the use session context. From the use session content, I'm going to get the Supabase client instance, and I need to get the authentication model also. So const auth model is equals to, and use auth model. Anyways, we are not displaying this like button if there is no user data, but we have to double check it every time. So I'm going to get the use auth model. So use auth model, and of course I need to get the user data as well as, so we can get the user data from use user from our custom hook, then use that user. So make sure that use user is coming from our hooks folder and auth model from our hooks folder, and let's bring it to the top. Keep our custom import statement separately over there, right? And then I'm going to create a new state. So use state, I'm going to make sure this imported on the top. Like, so use state, and this is going to be like, state is going to be is liked. If that song is already liked, then I need to display a different icon, and I need to, if it is not liked, I need to display a different icon. So I'm going to get the icon first. So const icon, so make sure I as a capital. So const icon, I should be capital letter because it's a component, right? Equals to, so if that is liked, if the component is liked, where it is, if it is liked, then what I need to do, I need to use for heart, this one. If not, I need to use IO heart outline, this one. Okay, if it is liked, we need to display this filled heart icon. If it is not, we need to display the outline heart icon, right? So after this, it's going to return. Oops, already we have the return. So here I'm gonna bring a button. Okay, inside this I'm gonna have an on click event, because the click event is really important. So I'm gonna call handle click, and I'm going to create a new click event. So const handle click, it's going to be a function, and that function should be an asynchronous function, right? And then this is going to be a type of, what type of it is, this it's going to be the type of button type, and the class name, of course, cursor, it's going to be the pointer, and margin left should be always auto because it's need to be always at the end of this division, and hover opacity, it's going to be 75. I'm gonna reduce the opacity level to 75, and transition, yes, save these changes. And inside this button, now what I have to do, I need to render this icon. So currently nothing is displaying over there, so I'm going to get this icon. So whatever the icon is, it's going to be, it's need to be changed according to this, right? So it's going to be a dynamic string literals, use it. So text, of course, it's going to be large text, and I'm going to get the, if it is liked, if it is, the song is already liked, then I need to display text emerald as 400 or 500, whatever the color you wish. If it is not, the text color is going to be neutral 400. Save these changes. Now you should see the icon. So this particular song is not yet liked. That's the reason, right? Now if I click this, it's need to be added to our like songs, right? So before, in order to do that, before adding the click event, first I need to fetch this data. So first, before I need to fetch it, whether that particular song is already added as the favorites into that by that specific user or not. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write an use effect hook, make sure, and that is having this array dependency. And inside that array dependency, what I'm going to do, I'm going to supply the song ID. Whenever the song ID changes, it's need to re-rendered, and supply the Supabase client instance, which we already fetched, and supply the user.id too. If the user change, it's need to re-render it, right? Inside here, and what I'm going to do is, if there is no user, if not user.id, then I need to return. Okay, then if not, only if I have the user data, I need to fetch this function, fetch data is equals to asynchronous function, and that function needs to be called right after here. So what I'm trying to fetch over here, so I'm going to say const data comma error, from where, from await Supabase client. Okay, from I'm gonna get the data from where, from this favorites. So I'm gonna copy this, I'm going to paste it over here, so I don't want any mistakes. So from the favorites, I'm gonna select everything star, then from there I'm gonna fetch this ID. The ID should be equals to that specific user ID. So this column user ID, that's what we are trying to do. So the user ID should be equals to the logged in user ID, make sure conditional rendering, then dot equal, we need to get the song ID as well. So copy the song ID. So we are getting that song ID in our props. So song ID, oops, this is supposed to be inside a string. Yes, then I need to fetch only the single record, so maybe single, right? So return the data as a single object instead of an array of objects. That's what we are trying to do, right? This function duty is to return a single data, not an array of data, right? So while doing this, so if not error, if there is no error, why I am getting this? So I need to, oops, my bad, this is supposed to be here, if not error, and if we have the data, what I need to do, I need to change this set is liked as true, right? So after fetching the data, if there is no error, or if you're having the data, which means the song is already selected, so we need to mark it as liked one. Okay, so now we need to call this function. Unless we are not calling this function, it's not going to work. So fetch data. So let's call this function. So save this changes, and I think we are getting an error where in the media item, so we haven't imported this. So this it's now expecting a prop, right? So we need to supply a song ID over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the song ID, and I'm going to supply the data.id in it. So save these changes. Now if you refresh it, so still we are getting, there is no user, so we are not getting. Okay, now none of the songs are added as the favorites, right? It's working perfectly so far. There is no issues at all. So now let's go ahead and click handle the click event, right? So this is where, yeah, here it is. So here, if I don't have a user, if not user, then what I need to do, I need to return the auth model dot on open this function, which means it's need to open the auth model to make sure that user needs to authenticate himself. If it's liked, if it is already liked by, if this particular song is already liked by the user, then what I need to do, I need to remove it. If not, I need to add that song. So we have only two possibilities. So what I'm going to do here, first I'm going to check const error equals to await from where, from the Supabase client. So I'm just going to say dot from Supabase client dot from open the function, and which is going to be the same songs favorites table, right? So favorites table, which is going to be, I need to delete that songs from that favorite. If it is already there, that means what I need to do, I need to delete it. So by what, on what condition basis I need to condition, this is the condition I need to supply. User ID. So let me enable the word wrap so you can see it. So I need to delete the record based on equals to this particular user ID and this particular song ID. So save this, and right after here, while doing this, if I'm getting any error, I need to run this toast from React hot toast dot error, and I need to supply the error message. Whatever the error message I'm getting, I need to supply that error message, right? If not, what I need to do, I need to set is liked as false, right? So if there is an error, I need to raise this error message. If there is no error, then what happened, that particular song is being successfully removed from your favorite. So I need to make this as set liked as false. If not say so, then what I need to do, I have to do the same thing. Let me copy this and let me paste it over here. This time what we are going to do, we are not going to delete it, we are going to insert it, right? That's what we are going to do. So I'm going to remove this. Right after here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say insert. I'm going to insert an object. This time it's going to be song ID, this particular song ID. It's going to be our song ID prop. Then what we need to do, we need to supply the user ID field. For that particular prop, we need to supply user.id, right? If there is any error message, then we are going to return that error. If there is no error message, we need to change this to it is liked successfully, and we need to say toast.success as liked. All right, save these changes. Okay, so once everything is done, every time whenever I'm clicking this function, where is this function is being, if condition is being finished, this else is finishing over here, I need to say router dot refresh the entire router, because we need to fetch the updated details, right? So now let's check it out. So I'm gonna add this song. If I click this song, you can see it's saying as liked, and it's been successfully added to the liked list. If I get back over here, now I should get that detail, user ID and the song which I liked. And if I click this also, that song also will be liked over there. And if I click this one more time, and it will be removed, and you can see now the song is being removed, and the instead of ID 10, now it's showing the ID 7. And if I remove this as well as, it will be removed from here. Look at that. And if I click this, it will be displayed back. You can see it's added over there. So just like the same way, now if I click this favorites, I need to display all the favorite songs, whatever I added so far. I need to get that songs and I need to display it over here. So that's what we are going to do next. All right then, so now what we have to do is we have to create a separate page to list out all the favorite songs, just like the thing which you are looking at over here right now. So let's go ahead and create ourselves our favorite songs. So I'm gonna close all this, right? So now what I have to do is I have to bring a new folder inside our app folder. So let me close this. Inside this app, I'm gonna create a new folder called favorites. So favorites. So inside this favorites, I'm going to create a new page called page.tsx, right? So let's go ahead and create ourselves the page.tsx. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say sfc, and this is going to be the favorites, and let's bring the favorites over here first. So favorites, and we should not catch this screen. So export const revalidate, it should be 0, right? So save changes, and now whenever you are clicking this favorites, you should get this favorites. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start design this header section, something like this. So what I'm going to do is, so inside here, I'm just going to copy some of them from our artist page over here, this thing. Let me copy this content and let me paste it over here. Paste it, and I'm getting an error, which means this is because of that. So let me import this header first, header component, and I don't need this. Okay, so this is going to be our, so inside here I need to bring some other thing. So let's I need to bring a division, something like this, right? So here I'm going to create an empty div so far. So if I save this changes, now I should get this button over here, right? So the button has been successfully loaded. So now right after this, inside that button, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say class name, which is going to be flex column. Okay, and medium device, it's going to be flex row. On the medium device, it's going to be the flex, oops, not flow root, it's going to be flex row, right? Flex row, and item center, and justify the start, and gap, it's going to be 4, and margin top, it's going to be 24. Save these changes, and let's make this word wrap. Okay, now inside this division, I'm going to create one more div, which is going to be a class name, right? All right. So inside this division, now what I have to do is I'm going to bring this button up over here. So width, of course, it's going to be 24, right? And height, of course, it's going to be the same 24, and rounded, of course, it's going to be medium, and large device, from the large device, width is going to be as 32, and in the large device, height is also going to be the 32, and flex item center, justify center, bg gradient to bottom right, br bottom right. So from blue 600, we need to take it via purple 700, and I need to take it to gray, to gray 500, something like this. This is the color pattern for this, the gradient pattern which I'm using over there, right? And transition, and inside here I'm gonna bring the heart from font awesome 6 version, and the class name is going to be text 3xl, and text is going to be the white color. Save it. Now you should see this over here, right? So now right after this hard division, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring one more division. So div class name is going to be flex column, item center, justify center, and lg, it's going to be item start, and on LG it's going to be justify start transition, right? Inside this division, right? Okay, so I think we are creating the divisions properly. So this is the division, and right after that we need to create the division. Okay, so inside here, now what I need to do, paragraph, I'm gonna bring this as a playlist, and right after here I need to say this as favorite songs, favorite songs. Save this changes. Now I should get that favorite songs just like the over here, but I need to customize it a little bit. For this I'm gonna say playlist. It needs to be hidden by defaultly, but for the launch device onwards it's need to be displayed. Then the neutral, the text color is going to be neutral 400, and it's going to be font semi-bold. Save this changes. It looks like that, right? But for this favorite songs paragraph, what I need to do, I'm just going to say text color is going to be white color itself, and text is going to be 3XL. From the large device onwards, text is going to be 4XL, and font, of course, it's going to be bold. It should look like that, but in the mobile screen, this is how it looks, right? All right, that's looking so cool. And then now what I have to do is I have to display the favorites content over here. This is the place where we need to display the favorite content. Before getting that favorite, displaying the favorite content, first of all, we need to fetch that favorite content from our database. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this songs one more time, and I'm going to rename this as get favorites. Let me copy this name. All right, and then I need to duplicate this name over here, right? So now what I have to do is first I need the user data, because based on the user ID only we need to fetch that data. So in order to get that user data, so const, let's open up the object, which is going to, we are going to get the data, and inside the data I'm going to get that only the session object from the data object. Okay, this object is basically, it's going to coming from where? From await Supabase. From this Supabase instance I'm going to get the auth instance, and that I'm going to get the session instance. I'm going to call the session function. From there I will get the data, and inside the data, of course, I will have this session object. That's the object that I'm going to fetch it. So now I have the session object, and I need to fetch the data from where? I need to fetch the data from our favorites. So I'm going to copy this table name, and I'm going to put it over here. Favorites. I need to fetch all the songs. Okay, so here I have the song ID only. Using this ID, I need to fetch the data from where? From the song table. So I need to fetch that particular song. Then I need to get back to the songs table, and I need to get all the details which match that songs particular. So I need to get all that song details. So basically we are trying to fetch the data from our relation table also, right? So after here, then what I need to do, so it should equals to dot equal, open it. And here I need to supply the user underscore IDs. That's a field name, right? So user underscore ID, copy it, paste it, and then comma. I can get that ID from our session dot user dot ID from there, and that's it, right? And if there is an error, I need to return that. I'm going to return that error over here. I'm going to display that error over here. If not, if I don't have data, if there is no data, then what I need to do, I need to return an empty array. And at the end, I am not supposed to return the data directly, because we are fetching the data from our relation table also. In order to fetch the data from our relation table, so from the data.map, I'm going to get that map function, and I'm going to fetch that item one after another, and I'm going to use this value function. Inside I'm going to return an object, and I'm going to spread all the items, item dot songs. So whatever the songs, from the songs I'm going to fetch it, I'm going to return all these things from here, right? So I think this should work. So save this changes, and let's get back over here in the page, and here I'm just going to say const songs is equals to await get favorites, and let's make this function as an asynchronous function, right? And let's get the artist detail also. Const artist is equals to await get artist. Save these changes. I don't think I am getting any error over here. So far everything is good, right? Then what I have to do, I need to bring our favorites content, which I don't have yet. So favorite, otherwise what I can do, I can say page content, which I don't have. So of course I need to go here and I need to create a new components folder, and I need to create exactly the same thing inside here. All right. So first what we have to do, of course, we need to make this as a use client. So use client and sfc page content div page content, and let's get back over here and let's import this from, make sure that where you are getting from the dot components from our current folder, we need to go to the components and import the page content, and let's change this to favorites page content. Save it. Now you should get the text as favorites page content. So now we loaded the component, perfect component, and for this favorites page component I need to get the I need to fix some properties for page content props. It's going to receive the songs array, and it's going to be the song type array, and it's going to receive the artist, and that is going to be the artist array. All right, that's the props, and I need to supply that props to our page content. So react.fc, use this page content props, and let's get our songs and as well as our artists, right? So now let's go here, and then what I need to do, I need to supply those songs. So songs, which is going to be the songs which I fetched, and artist, of course, it's going to be the artist which I fetched. Save this details, and let's get back to our page content. All right, so inside here now what I'm going to do is I'm going to so every time whenever this page is being successfully loading, I need to make sure that it's having that user data, right? So right after here, let me enable the word wrap. Right after here, so I need to get that user details first. Const user, from where? Use user hook, and I am inside that I'm having this is loading state as well as, because I need to make sure whether the user data is loading or I don't have that user object also. So that's the reason I need getting that loading state as well as, right? Then I need to get the router. So const router equals to use router, from where? Next navigation. Then const auth model is equals to use auth model. Open it. Now inside here I'm going to get the use effect hook. Open it. Right, so if not is loading, which means if it is not loading, and as well as if I don't have the user data, what I need to do is I need to replace the router dot replace to where slash. Then before that I need to make sure that I open the auth model dot on open. Right, if there is no user object and the user state is not loading, then what I need to do, I need to open the authentication model, make sure that user gets authenticated. And right after here, if the songs, so let's get back to our search components, search content. Let's copy this from here and let's get back over here and let's paste it over here. If the songs dot length is now it's equals to 0, then what we have to do, we have to display that is no songs, no favorite songs, no favorite songs, right? So if there is the songs, then what I have to do, we have to return all these details. Copy this and let's apply this divisions over here, and let's import the media item. All right, so if I save this, now I should get our favorite songs. Look at that, this is our favorite songs. Let's go ahead and let's check it out one more time. Let me go back to the search and let me add this, and add this, and let me get back to the favorites. Look at that. So we got all our favorite songs, and from our favorite songs itself, if I want to delete this as well as, I can do that. It will work perfectly. Look at that. See? So we successfully finished our search page, and we successfully finished our favorites page. So the day 6 series is successfully completed. So I once again strongly recommend you to go ahead and watch all the day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5, and watch this series completely from the start, so you can understand. If you are start watching from in between, it's really hard for you, right? So I'll see you in the next session.